My name is Grant Beard. I am the one and only Hypertension. I am here with the Stone Cold King of Casting himself. That would be William Chillingwalk Moa. And you know what, guys? We are here for day 3 of Scouting Grounds. You saw the continuation of day 2 this morning, but we are here for Mountain versus Ocean. How are you doing tonight, Will?
You know what, Hyper? I'm pretty excited. We haven't commentated since the old days back in the Upstairs Premier League. So pretty excited to actually hop on this broadcast and also top on the color side because I do flex, I do play, and colors. So hopefully my game information will help all y'all out.
Absolutely, and I'm feeling the same way. I'm usually color these days over on the unofficial English broadcast, but you know what? I'm happy to be in the play-by-play desk. We're both casters who can flex, and you know what? I'm happy that we get such a game to cast because Mountain versus Ocean, round 2, I'm excited about this.
Exactly, and you know we saw what happened. We saw what happened a little bit of game 1 last night, but you know, with talking about Mountain, you know, they played a little bit off screen and actually won against Cloud. And they finally got their first victory against Team Cloud. Unfortunate that Cloud hasn't gotten their first win as of yet. But hopefully we'll see if they manage to win on the other side of today's match. But still, you know, APA unfortunately had a little bit of issues when it comes to being on the stream. But hopefully things are now getting fixed away. But, you know, in that game, you know, game 1 and game 3 against Team Cloud, you know, he was honestly a big point when it comes to them getting the victory. Him, of course, Zaun and Spawn are also big names for them, especially to those victories. So hopefully when we see him tonight, we get to see how they compete against Ocean, which so far, you know, only took their loss against Infernal.
Yeah, and the only other games that they really end up losing, there was one that they lost to Mountain on Monday during that eventual 3-game series. And in that game, it was really Spawn who was the one that took off and absolutely put the game on his shoulders and carried his team to victory. Honestly, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he performs in his second opportunity against Team Ocean.
You know, honestly, this is a pretty solid rematch. And, you know, Yumby was the one who got interviewed by our friend Rafa at the end of that set. So hopefully you guys can hear some of his words. But you know, Yumby was telling us that he was feeling good about that match. And he was definitely excited to have a rematch, of course. But for NXI, you know, he definitely was the one who performed really well against the match against Inferno earlier on today. Rodov, of course, was a little bit slumping against the 101 against Tony Top. So, you know, hopefully Ocean in this rematch kind of get a breath of fresh air, if you will.
Absolutely. I would very much like to see what the adaptations are from the two teams, see what they have learned from their previous series, because this is the start of the second half of Scouting Grounds. We may be in the third day and the way that their games earlier today worked, but at the same time, this is the first match of Block 2. Imagine it like week 5 of the LCS, ladies and gentlemen. But now we are into the draft, and right away, Bandway is going to be APA's Syndra.
Yeah, had an incredible performance against Team Cloud, so I definitely understand why they are removing that champion away. Of course, have to see what else they want to set up, but right now, honestly, no really big, really big individual champions that these guys really like. A lot of these guys, you know, are definitely down to play the meta, definitely down to play champions that are pretty comfortable overall so far. Of course, going to ban away Samira. We saw one of these players manage to get their hands on it, and it was pretty devastating. I definitely do not want anyone picking up this champion if you're in the Scouting Grounds right now.
Absolutely not. It is a pretty devastating champion. As you said, even after the nerfs, she is still a very bannable champion, a very strong champion. But at the same time, she's banned. Looking on the other side, we do have that Ashe banned away. And we talked about earlier what happened in that game. That is Spawn's Ashe that is actually banned away.
You know, definitely not too surprising. Ashe is, of course, a champion that has been seen so far in the world meta. So understand why they removed that away. Lucian, of course, big B1 flex. Understand why they removed that as well. Ornn, of course, is actually a little bit surprising. We've seen Rodov and Niles pilot that champion, especially on the blue side. But I definitely like this ban. It takes away from Gibble. And if you guys don't know, Gibble is, compared to all the other top laners, Gibble is one who actually is more well-known for playing the tank style, playing more of the weak side top lane. So it's a good way to ban one of these champions that is relatively safe. And, you know, give Rodov some more flexibility when it comes to, you know, getting a good matchup for himself.
Absolutely. And speaking of banning away key champions, you have to ban away from the Nidalee from NXI. He is way too good on that pick. In return, Ocean is going to pick up the Graves for the man in the jungle.
Yeah, but NXI has got this champion like almost the entire time of Scouting Grounds, you know, and he's had a really good performance really good performances on this champion already. So I am a little bit worried about Mountain and their game plan in regards to tackling NXI on this champion. Of course, Zaun, jungler for Maryville University, is going to be picking his hands on the Lilia. And, he had some incredible performances on that champion as well. Did really good when it came to the way team fights. Also helps him out when supporting the rest of his team. And also gives him some much-needed mobility, especially when pairing himself with APA, one of the notorious mid laners who just loves to roam around the map.
Absolutely. And one pick that hasn't been banned yet that we have to mention because of the players involved, we have to mention about APA's Aurelion Sol. But first up, I want to talk about this one. Guys, if you've never seen Jan's Ezreal, it is a work of art. It is arguably his best champion, and whenever he got it on 100 Thieves Next, it was lights out for the enemy bottom lane, especially during the laning phase, because he's near impossible to kill on this champion.
I know you're a big fan of Jan and his Ezreal Hyper, but it's surprising that no one has actually managed to ban this champion away from him. Cubby brought it up that, let's have Jan play something else in the AD carry role, because Jan's Ezreal is one of the cleanest so far. So hopefully we get to see what we can do, what Mountain can do against Jan and his Ezreal. Right now, the tools that they have, Jhin and Lilia aren't the best in dealing with Ezreal because of his mobility and the arcane shift here, but Joey going to be picking up the Leona for themselves, a good source of engage, a good source of long engage, keep that in mind, against Gibble, knowing that he is a champion that doesn't have any sort of mobility, but they're going to circumvent that issue with Bard, being able to move around the map on Plux, being able to just kind of influence the game as well. Of course, help out APA, the mid laner who was always going to be moving around the map. So I like what Mountain's trying to do right here, pivoting Plux to someone that can roam, and also someone that can potentially duel the bottom side.
Yeah, and the last time we saw this match, Bard picked in this tournament, it was actually Plux playing into the Bard on a Blitzcrank, working incredibly well in Game 2 of this first series of Ocean versus Mountain. But at the same time, it was banned away in the previous games. They're going with that different roaming support here, as you said. I'm not sure how that lane of Bard and the Jhin is really going to hold up, because that is going to be very high pressure and high aggression that can come out. You always have the Ezreal being able to throw out the Mystic Shot, and then the Leona Zenith Blade has to be feared no matter where you are.
Now, this is an interesting ban that has come in, Hyper. It is a fourth ban, Ziggs here, targeting towards APA, and he has played this a little bit in Scouting Grounds, especially into the meta so far. And also, if you're not going to be moving around the map, you might as well pick a champion that can influence the map with that Mega Inferno bomb, and it definitely fits into APA style of just wave clearing the mid lane and then just throwing something else across the map. So I definitely like this takeaway, this ban from Team Ocean here. So hopefully we get to see what the coaching staff of both these squads are going to be doing. But with these compositions right now, hopefully Mountain can establish a pretty solid front line, because right now they don't really have anyone to be a big bodyguard. So we'll have to see what the next ban's going to be.
Is that a non-ban? I believe that's a non-ban.
Oh yeah, it looks like it actually might be. And usually, Hyper, we do see a little bit of a change of a cancellation. Let's go and redo the draft, but I think they're just down to continue going forward, and it looks like they will, man.
Yeah, and it looks like they are just going to keep on trucking forward. The Orianna Hover coming in for APA. Not a champion that we're used to seeing him play a lot, but that is locked in after his Aurelion Sol and Ziggs were taken away. So now this will give counterpick over to Yunbi and the side of Ocean, who in return will have to blind pick their top lane, giving Gibble the counterpick.
Hyper, I was talking a little bit with our fellow commentators who were watching the game of Ocean, and some of them did say that Yumbi had didn't really perform to par as where we usually see him. So hopefully Yumbi can now step up his game. But Hyper, we have not seen a Corki until it was like the Corki Azir days, man. Like, this champion coming back, we'll have to see how it works, because this is a triple marksman composition being built in for Team Ocean right now. Have a super solid hard engage from the Leona, and really good single target damage. Team Mountain, if anyone gets hit up with a stun, they're all going to be dying, and let's go and double down on that for Ocean and pick up a Camille for Rodov. And if Rodov manages to snag any one of these people, 3 marksmen are going to be hitting that champion in the face.
Yeah, the long-range pick potential from the side of Ocean between the Camille, the Leona, and the Corki package gives them so much ability to create advantages just almost out of nowhere with the sheer engage range that they have. Looking over here at Mountain, wondering what they'll pick in here. It does appear that it will be the Jax into the Camille.
Okay.
I know you love to talk about this matchup. So,
okay.
Chef, Caster Chef Chilling Walk. Tell me about this.
Caster Chef Chilling Walk. All right, you know, Hyper, I know I tend to like to cook a little bit here in the draft and in real life, but
tell me how spicy this is.
This matchup is honestly so fun to watch. I don't know if anyone out there is a fan of fighting games, but this matchup is basically what it is, because it's all about the mix-up. When is that hook shot going to come through? When is that counter strike going to stop spinning? And that's where that mix-up comes in. And this matchup is for sure Jack's favorite because of the counter strike that's built in. But the early laning, it's all about those small little intricacies that I really want to see. And Gibble is not a top laner who is known for playing these carry roles, and being a dedicated split pusher is going to be something that I'm really excited about seeing, because if he manages to beat Rodolph at his game, it means that Rodolph, continuing his off day against Team Infernal, and also Gibble, getting some shining light in that matchup as well.
Absolutely. And again, if you had told me that one of the top laners here at Scouting Grounds was going to pick Jax into a Camille, Gibble is pretty much the last guy I would expect for it to happen. I would much expect for it to be Tony top here. But again, it is not. It is Gibble. It is, as you said, a far cry from what we are used to seeing. This composition is a far cry from what I guess we expected out of the side of Mountain. But if I am confident about anything from this composition, I'm confident that Zaun should be able to play in this perfectly. This screams to me that the style of composition I would see out of Maryville University, his regular team.
Yeah, hopefully Zaun can actually look to facilitate the early game. But right now it is going to be an uphill battle for Mountain. They are the ones who are currently in third place so far in the Scouting Ground circuit, with Infernal, of course, being number 1, Ocean being number 2. So this victory actually would prove them that, this is a solid roster that has been developing from the beginning here. So hopefully we go in this match. Hopefully APA also looks to set himself up, because he's also actually not playing a global mid laner in this time. He has a really good Orianna. Don't get me wrong. And it also works really well against a true marksman composition, because that ball will create a lot of zoning against that kind of composition. But hopefully we get to see APA work. Hopefully we get to see Gibble pop off in this Jax, because if he impresses me, impresses you, he's going to be impressing everyone if he manages to get this best top lane.
Absolutely, as we are loading into the game here, trying to catch up a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here for day 3 of Scouting Grounds. Once again, he is William Chillingwalk-Moa. I am Grant Beard, better known as Hypertension. It's Ocean, it's Mountain. Let's get onto the Rift, as no level 1 shenanigans going to come out from any of these teams.
Yeah, right now, no one looking to set themselves up as of yet. Surprising that no level 1s actually come through. We saw Infernal, definitely one of the notorious teams to do any sort of level 1s come in. So make sure that'll be looking pretty good. But right now, just have to see what can come through.
That we do. And honestly, if I am looking for anybody to really kick off this early game, I think it has to be Joey. You have to look for the Leona to start making the early plays, to start getting the early advantages. If you are able to snowball at that bottom lane, the single target damage that Yawn can produce is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I just want to see how this top lane interacts. The Counter-Strike, of course, level 1 is going to be looking really good for his end, for Gibble, but still surprising that Gibble picked this champion. It's definitely something that is very unique. Tony Top is one, as you said, Hyper, that would probably pick that. Now it's probably going to be another top laner that would pick this kind of matchup too. But these are 5 squishy members on the side of Mountain, so they're going to have to win a little bit early on, and they're going to have to see if they can flex against Team Ocean.
They absolutely are. And if you can flex, it looks so good to these scouts and whatnot. But speaking of flexing, Gibble is showing that he is not afraid into this matchup.
Getting a pretty solid wave being built up against Rodolph here. Might actually go for a cheated recall if I'm him, knowing that he's already burned 2 of those potions. Already burned the health potion against Rodolph too. It's a big wave, and if I would do that, that's a good time to do so. Gibble going for that cheated recall, making sure he won't be losing any sort of tempo on his top side. 15 CS already picked up too, so should be pick up some more items. A Dorn's Blade in his inventory, looking really good for himself, and so far Gibble taking the better win in this matchup.
Yeah, but I honestly, as as a caster, I'm not really fond of the players like doing that little bit of cheat recall just for something like a Doran's Blade. I would love to see them like snowball that lead out a little bit harder, go back for something like a Sheen, and then return for an easy recall.
See, Hyper, that's where you want to double. You're investing in the early game. That's what you got to do, and that's why cheated recalls are so good because you burn that health potion early on. You burn everything else from Rodolph, and you also get to pick a Doran's Blade up top along with your corrupting potions getting refreshed here. That's why the cheated recall is really good. And if Gibble manages to make sure that he's still staying in this winning side, it'll definitely work out in the long run.
Fair enough. Your argument is sound, so I will concede in this instance. It does look like, though, for the across the rest of the map, a little bit of action going on here and there, but it does look like, as we do see some fighting in the top lane, NXI is looking to roam up. He is in around the tri-bush as that Graves. He's going to run right into the face of Zound, so it's going to be interesting to see how the top and junglers are going to really tango here.
Yeah, but NXI is just going to back off here. They want to crash Rodolph's wave, which is definitely understandable because you want the wave to bounce back to a Rodolph's side so he can actually set up a freeze, or if not that, get a pretty solid reset off. Gibble's actually doing a really good job to try to just maintain it, but I think the Counter-Strike actually may have just messed up the wave for his end, so he's going to have to push it back. So good job on Rodolph to make sure he gets the wave back in. But so far, no gigantic CS discrepancy occurring as of yet.
Absolutely. Right now, sort of in a lull state of the game, as we said before, there's no advantage that can really be found. And I think this is more on each team trying to make sure that they don't mess up. We saw in both of all of the games from Monday between these two teams that one team really got an early snowball going and they never really let it go. It just continued to go and go and go. And it all started off of early game mistakes from their opponents. Both these teams trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
You see Joey and Jan looking to move into the mid lane to see if they could pin down APA, but to no avail. So just a lot of pressure being traded on both sides right now. Once 6 does occur on the bottom side, Joey and Jan can look for something. And when it comes to action on the bottom side on 2 Plucks and on a spawn, hopefully NXI is around the corner if that were to occur. But with both these teams looking to scale into the late game, I think it's just going to be a handshake all around, Hyper.
Yeah, potentially could be. We have seen games like that in the past, playing that LCK style of, there's almost no kills for about half an hour, and then everything kicks off. But that's not what we're expecting out of NA. That's not what we're expecting out of Scouting Grounds. Give me some kills.
Hyper, that's what I want to watch. I know a lot of people are like, they're down to fight, they're down to clown, they're down to do some level 1 invades, but I like seeing some clean play. I like to see them fight around objectives and utilize some of the spells and utilize the tools in a good way when it comes to just building up an advantage. When some early kills happen due to some lane interactions or some ganks come through, sure, that's really good. It's a good punish, but I don't want them just, going into the jungle and just start fighting for no reason,
Yeah, well, absolutely not. Smart fights, but still give me the fights.
Give them the fights. All right, commentary's curse. Is there going to be a fight, Hyper? I don't know. I think these guys are down a handshake. I mean, I don't think Yumby's going to want to fight until he gets Triforce. I don't think Jan's going to look to fight until he gets Triforce. Maybe the fighting is going to occur topside because this is a very volatile matchup. So if any fighting were to occur, it's going to be between Gibble and Rodolph. Whoever gets that early, that first kill, that second kill into this lane should definitely just start steamrolling the other person.
Yeah, and that is that easy lane to snowball. Both these champions, so easy to start split pushing on when you have an advantage, when you have those little bit of items under your belt. And speaking of the items, just looking at the build paths right now, Gibble does have that Vamp Scepter into his pocket. That tells me early Blade of the Rune King versus the double longswords of the Camille, which could be going into numerous items.
It's a good item for Gibble, knowing that it gets him some sustain, helps him out in the early laning as well. And it means that whatever trade that he does on a roll, he'll be able to sustain back up through the minion wave too. So let's see how it turns out.
Yeah, as that stun is going to land, and he takes the worst of that trade. But right now, the map, again, is just kind of quiet. Even if there is a roam, like we just saw Joey try to attempt into the mid lane, they kind of just stop it. They're not really doing anything. They're keen on playing passively, as you said, shaking hands and trying to scale up for that mid late game.
So far, taking a look at the vision game right now, Hyper. Not a lot of vision being spread around here. I'm going to take a little bit of poke. Current call comes through, but should be able back. And actually, teleport's coming in. They're looking to punish.
They are looking to punish Zenith Blade landing. That's the package coming in. Then he's going to be Spawn going down, and Pluck's going to follow him to the grave. That is 2 for 0 over to the side of Ocean, and they're going to get this easy route over to the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Flash being blown from Spawn as well. So good punish overall from Ocean. You know, I think in Mountain's head, they thought that they were able to get a kill. Maybe they thought that Joey was around the mid lane, but without any vision being established, I mean, that's why I think Mountain had a full sense of security when it came to that bottom side. And, you know, that's why they get punished. And losing this Inferno Drake is definitely going to be good for Ocean, getting some damage amplified for their end, especially in this composition where it is for sure already overloaded with damage.
Absolutely. And especially one thing about it is that you did get one of those 2 kills onto Jan's Ezreal. Getting him snowballing so early when he can be the highest DPS member of this team, especially onto single targets that are going to be squishy like the entirety of Mountain, very key towards Ocean's win condition.
Yeah, but it's a good thing the Mountain is trading for this Rift Herald up on the top side. They did actually opt in for a lane swap off that death from Spawn and Plux, and looks like they actually might just catch Jan off on this rotation.
Yeah, but he is an Ezreal, so he does have the Arcane Shift out. He does have Joey at his back, so they might be looking to chase this out. That's going to be a Zenith Blade catch. He's not going to get pulled all the way over the wall. Rodolph gets caught there for a lot of damage, burning, but not quite going down just yet. That is going to be everyone walking away thus far. Gibble is now taking a lot of damage, as are that front line of Team Mountain. Looks like the Rockets will just ward them away, and that will be no kills off of that exchange.
Yeah, that's where both teams are just sitting at a knife's edge, making sure they just trying to blow some flashes, blow some resources that are well-deserved when it comes to this next fight. So I definitely appreciate the discipline and what both these teams are doing when it comes to just, you know, taking these fights a little bit slower. I really see. But this game is a little bit different because both these teams are playing a lot more slow, respecting the damage that are both giving, and keeping track of what summer spells are being blown, because you see Rodolph already losing his, losing the flash, losing the teleport as well. Same thing with the Gibble. So those are big things that we have to keep in mind when it comes to these next team fights, especially when item breakpoints start coming through.
Yeah, when those breakpoints do start coming through, you will start to see these teams start to really pile on the damage. We already saw how they can start to chip away at each other. They will start to chunk away at each other after those next couple sets.
Yeah, but with Joey and Jan on the top side, they're just looking to get some plates for themselves. Surprised they're actually looking to commit to this kind of play here, looking to just take some plates for himself, because, you know, if Jan gets ahead, it also means that Spawn and Plux are able to get ahead as well, unless they're able to threaten a dive. Arcane Barrage does come through, but Gibble will make it out. But so far, Ocean getting some more plates on their end.
Yeah, just some more plates going. And we apologize for any technical issues. We're trying to get them resolved. Looking at this, as you said, trade of plates across the 2 sides of the map. Looks like both of them are trying to just get what they can.
Okay.
That's going to be Shelly popped in the bottom side.
Yeah, but it does mean that Mountain is going to win on this trade overall, and also have the tempo here. That's why Rift Herald is actually a really good way of taking it, is because when both teams are cross-mapping on one side and the other, the Rift Herald actually generates a lot of speed for the reset right here, because the moment you see Spawn and Plux and everyone else go for that reset, they can actually look to defend on the top side, or if not that, double down on another play that it will occur. It's only 12 minutes in. If they really want to, Mountain can make a fast play for the top side plates, and I think they just might with this reset being called back in. So honestly, a good victory for Mountain as long as they continue that snowball.
Absolutely. And oh, it looks like Ocean might have bitten off more than they can queue. That's going to be a lot of damage down to Joey. Zound is going to take him down. Looks like Gibble is right there in the face of Yunbi. Now they're on to Jan, and he is gone. That will be 3-0 in favor of Team Mountain.
And that's the tempo that I was talking about, Hyper. When you use that Rift Herald, you're able to get back to base and come back onto the base a lot faster. Ocean overstaying a little bit. I'm not too sure why they opted to just trying to get some vision or take some camps away, because that's what's going to happen. Zound, you know, also forcing a flash from the next side. That's a big resource, especially when it comes to this game. But right now, Mountain still definitely enjoying this. They're getting a lot of plates. Honestly, about to start a buffet right now, because that's already 7 plates for themselves.
As you said, 7 plates. That is a ton of gold. That has put them in a 2,000 gold lead here on the side of Mountain. They have rebounded very nicely from that bottom lane gank that lost them both the tower. That after they gained the tower, and now everyone is pretty much up CS except for Zound. Everyone is up in gold, and they are rocking and rolling as hard as they can.
Yeah, it is. There's only 15 seconds left for this Cloud Drake here, and Yunbi does have the package. I wonder how many more seconds he has left on them, because if he's able to use it for this Cloud Drake fight, it's going to definitely be very good for Team Ocean. I think it's going to fall down anytime soon here, but I definitely like the setup that they have. You know, one in the pixel, one over by the blue ramp here. Yunbi still having that package when this Cloud Drake has started, so if I'm Mountain, just let him have it.
Yeah, you got to give it away because it's just a single Cloud Drake. It's not worth fighting there. And as a result, now it will be the Dragon Spawn, which I imagine Team Ocean would really like to have.
Yeah. Honestly, both these teams would enjoy Ocean. Knowing that it's just going to be like a poke game, you know, throwing abilities first and foremost, because there's a lot of squishy members on both sides. Ocean's going to be really good. Rodolph may have been caught out, though.
Absolutely. Hextech Ultimatum is dropped, as is the Solar Flare, but Zound is taking down Rodolph there. That is going to be a trade of kills, as it is jungler for top laner. Double kill over to the man NXI, and the jungle that Graves now has 2.
Man, NXI being right there to make sure he stays alive throughout all of it, too. Rodolph, the only person who's going to be the sacrificial pawn in that fight. But still, great play from Ocean to punish Team Mountain on that top side play. So far, though, you know, only 8 kills in, 15 minutes in, but surprised that, you know, both these guys aren't really looking to fight around these objectives, because at the end of the day, that fight, you know, maybe it was just for the top T1, and, you know, maybe Rodolph was just in a bad place at a bad time, but if I'm Mountain, I think next time we just go for that top tier 1 and then just look to just establish more control at the end of it.
Yeah, and losing that control there really will hurt as the game progresses on. Now, I do want to take a step back, and I do want to take a look at the way the items are building out right now. We do see that Rodolph has the teammate. He's going in, obviously, into the Triforce, but I also see 2 Mermanas on
Yet, Matt into the phage and compared to Gibble with that Blade of the Ruined King. So right now, Ocean just has to play a little bit reserved, wait for their strength to come back in with these itemization breakpoints. And when it does, they're able to pick a fight. But Rodolph, you know, he might be saying hi to Gibble because backup is coming in.
Backup is coming in. Looks like Hextech Ultimatum and the Solar Flare will be popped down. Gibble trying to run away with that Leap Strike. Tempered Fate will dissuade them, but collateral damage doesn't give a damn. That's going to be an easy kill onto Gibble. Easy return onto Rodolph. Both top laners die.
Yeah, but now Zound and NXI have so many kills under the belt. 3-0-2 versus 4-1. Honestly, this game, we established that it was going to be the game between Gibble and Rodolph. Right now, this game is between NXI and Zound, having a lot of kills under the belt. I actually want to see the gold real quick because it's looking pretty devastating for both these sides. And taking a look here, you know, 600 in Zound's pocket, 7K in NXI's pocket. So pretty damn similar, only 300 gold difference right now. But the biggest one that comes through that's in my head is that top side, 6.3 versus 4.9. That's pretty damn big.
That is pretty damn big indeed, as now that lead could very easily snowball into those lanes. I'm very interested to see how this mid-game starts to pan out, as we do have the Ocean Drake spawning in another minute 20. The Vision game right now is solely in the control of Team Mountain. I would like to see if these teams are going to start the Vision war right around that Dragon Pit.
Yeah, but I want to see... Let's take a look at the inventory right now. Not a lot of them actually having pink wards out compared to Mon. They got 2 in their inventory. So Hopefully they can set themselves up for this dragon take here. This is going to be sole point for Ocean if they manage to get it, so I appreciate Mountain being a little bit faster on this tempo right now. Yumbi looks like he might have the package on deck as well, knowing that he's getting to bot side pretty fast. So good control for Mountain when it comes to this dragon take. You already see all the wards being set up over the wall from the dragon. So hopefully Ocean can look to step up, but Mountain definitely in a position to take this dragon.
Yeah, League of Legends is a game won and lost in the Vision War. And right now, Mountain has won it over that Ocean Dragon Pit. Looks like they're just going to be able to set up because they know exactly where NXI and Yunbi are. That's going to be the curtain call opened up. They're not going to quite get there in time to get the kills off of it, but that is going to be a lot of damage onto Spawn. He goes low. He is still alive. He is burning. But on the flip side, Yon, he's taking a lot of damage as well. That's going to be him walking away. Joey is the first one to die. Who would have thought that? Now Flux does go down as well. So Portal combat in hell for both of those two. That's going to be a trade of 1-for-1.
Yeah, but keep in mind Spawn and Yon still managed to live away with just slivers in their side. So hopefully they can start coming back. But I have to keep in mind, Hyper, that these teams are still going neck and neck when it comes to these fights.
Yes, they are. And right now, oh, that's another 2 kills going over to Team Ocean. Gibble and NXI. I'm sorry, on Team Ocean. Gibble pick up the kill on a Rodov. NXI dying off on the side. And overall, another advantage gained by Team Mountain.
Yeah, but take a look at the top side. Gibble 1, 2, and 4, looking very strong in his end. Unfortunately, Jan managed to find a kill on his zone right by the Raptor camp right there. But still, looking really good. Mid-tier 1 is about to fall for Ocean. Unfortunately, APA wasn't able to get it, but still looking really good. Joey really low. APA, he wants to fight this 1-on-2, but I don't think you could take it, bro.
Yeah, I think he bit off just a little bit too much there, as Jan does pick up the kill. Easy for him, more gold into his pocket. And looking at Jan, he's probably going to be the one that the side of Ocean are going to rely on here as a 1-2 punch with NXI. Both of them have 3 or more kills. They only have 1 death each, and they are on 2.5 items each. So this is a really strong point for both of their champions in the Ezreal and the Graves.
Yeah, bro, I was going to highlight the person that you wanted to highlight before we got into this game. The unsung hero on Team Ocean, Mr. Yan, sitting there 3-1-1. Iceborne Golem and Muramana already completed. Yunbi already picking up his Triforce too. So 2-item breakpoints coming in big for Team Ocean means that their DPS is really, really a lot, honestly. So in these next fights, Ocean can definitely look to take it, but it's still at a knife edge, man. It's like watching a cart from they're basically just balancing on that tightrope.
They absolutely are. There is currently a 2,000 gold lead for Team Mountain, but at the same time, Ocean are not to be trifled with their item breakpoints at the moment. Everybody is at a very powerful point except for Rodov, who is still yet to complete a full item. But he is going to complete it rather soon, I think. He should back here in just a minute to pick up that Triforce because he should have plenty of gold in pocket.
I mean, it's just tough for Rodov, Hyper. Like, take a look at Gibble. I mean, he has a Triforce already built. He has a 4 ACS lead in favor for him. It's definitely a change of pace. We've seen Gibble play Scion twice in their match against Team Cloud in that victory and played 1 game of Gangplank, which is definitely a change of pace. But I definitely like Gibble right now. He's definitely coming in to impress, especially in the 1-on-1. And, a lot of these top players that I've talked to in high elo, they said that, Gibble's landing isn't actually like something that is, remarkable. It's there, it's solid, but it's not something that it's a shining light. But I don't know, man, this game is definitely proving everyone else wrong.
Absolutely is. I mean, that Jax is a force on the side, and no one can really straight up fight him 1v1 without losing their life. And he will still just heal up after the fact because he has the Blade of the Ruin King. So he'll still keep split pushing because he just can.
Yeah, but another 2 minutes left will come this dragon here. Joey and them trying to push through into this river, but keep in mind that Gibble has that priority on the bottom side. So if any fight were to occur, Gibble will be there. I mean, let's take a look at Road, man. Like, he actually just has to back off away from the wave. Gibble has complete control of this bottom side right now in that bottom lane. In that 1-on-1, it's looking pretty devastating.
Absolutely is. And right now we are starting to see teams set up around the Ocean Dragon, which would actually give Gibble the short route onto it because he is closer to the pit in that split push situation, given how pushed up the wave is. APA does not have teleport yet, so if he goes to push out this wave, he'll need to walk all the way back to help set up with vision.
One thing I'm surprised about, Hyper, that APA actually opted to pick up an Oblivion Orb. So I want to see if he actually finishes the Morellonomicon. I know that a lot of fans out there do not like Morellonomicon this early on, knowing that you're not really getting that grievous wounds. And I think Ellis has done a good job being the Leandri salesman. I would have liked APA going for that Leandris against the squad, but unless he's trying to go for a one-shot build, we'll have to see how he finishes it up. But so far, still, biggest victory right now on this game is between Gibble and Rodolph. The 4-on-4 is still just going back and forth, just seesawing that vision pressure.
What? Yeah, that's Isan. Oh, speaking of pressure, that's so much damage onto Plux. But again, great Temper Fate. The Shockwave only gets one, though. That's going to be a great magical journey to help get them out of dodge. Right now, that will be the collateral damage for the kill onto Zaun. And now he is going to be just running away as the rest of the team from Mountain. They are falling one by one. That's 3 for 0 over to the side of Team Ocean. Now Yunbi actually might get that kill. Yes, he does. 4 for 0 as Yunbi survives with a sliver of health. And that's going to be Ocean going to get the Ocean Rift, going to get that Ocean Soul.
The game of chicken has finally won for Ocean, getting the Ocean Soul for themselves. And start of the fight, Plux got caught out, and that was obviously a really good Temper Fate on the two people, but unfortunately, APA stepped up a little bit too much, and then he got caught out. And, I think that's where the miscommunication from Mountain came through. Gibble thought he could walk in and take a fight against Yunbi, but then there was no backup on his end. Zaun, unfortunately, got sniped out by that collateral damage, and APA was trying to fight Yunbi again, but he got caught out. He got hit with that last auto attack through that flash, and unfortunate for Mountain, because I think if they were to just stay there and just be a rock in front of their tier 1, then that fight would have never occurred, and it still would have been an even game. But now Ocean has blown up the mid wave. Now they're looking at pressure on this Baron, and with the mid tier 1 falling down means that they're able to access that top side quadrant on Mountain side. And if they're able to establish a good vision line for themselves, triple marksman can melt down this Baron really quickly, Hyper.
It absolutely can. And even with the state of the game that the Camille is in, with how far behind Rodolph is on it, that's also another champion that does a lot of damage to the Baron Nashor. So it's just so easy for the side of Ocean to take it down, especially from the fact that they can just stay healthy the rest of the time with this Ocean Soul that they have.
Yeah, however, Gibble does have that teleport, so if any sort of shenanigans get started from that. Whoa, we're getting to that. Zaun, he got nuked out, bro.
I mean, you talk about shenanigans. Let me introduce you to Leona's ability to lock you down while Israel blows you up.
Yeah, honestly, I think Leona is a little bit tweaking. She could stun lock anyone for around 3.5 to 4 seconds off the Zenith Blade, off the Shield of Daybreak, and of course off that Solar Flare. And keep in mind that the uptime between the Shield of Daybreak is only 2.5 seconds. So if you're not moving anywhere between that 2.5 seconds, you're gonna get stunned up again. With the catch on a Zaun, they're gonna be getting the Baron, and that means they can just group up as a death ball and just start running around through these turrets.
Yeah, but it was a very good move by Mountain to, instead of just sitting on their laurels while they knew that they could not fight for the Baron, instead they said, Gibble, go bottom lane, take the tower. We're going to push out the mid wave. We don't have the wave clear at the moment to full on take the tower or the minion wave at our back, but instead we're going to get whatever we can. And now they did manage to get that tower. They are still within striking distance in terms of gold. One fight win could still turn this game around, but Ocean are certainly in control.
Yeah, just going back to APA's itemization, he actually did opt for the needlessly large rot, so he is going to be going for that one-shot build. Now, I appreciate the Oblivion Orb, as it does add that additional magic penetration for when he does go for those one-shots, but it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit tough knowing that they have a lot of squishy members, and also it's going to be a little bit tough when they have that healing from the Ocean Soul here. Any sort of ability will just start regenerating all of them really quickly, and all of them have some decently long-range poke built in their kit. So yeah, hopefully Mountain can stand up, but Ocean already looking to push this top inhibitor.
Yeah, they already do take down the top inhibitor, and on the bottom side, Gibble is trying, but I think that's a base race that the side of Mountain are going to lose. 1 pushing Jax versus 4 pushing members of Ocean. I'll take the Ocean 4. even though he is now into a fight with Rodov, he does have the sustain advantage. The TP's going to come in. That's going to be the Hextech Ultimatum to dodge out the stun from the counter-strike, and Rodov takes down Gibble with a little bit of an assist. APA, why did you teleport there, my guy? You're just going to die. And now Joey and Yon and NXI, they are saying, okay, guys, it's our time.
Yeah, when you win on that one-on-one, you just call for the backup from your fellow mid laner, teleport back in, and when that becomes a 2-on-2, it's definitely going to be in favor for Ocean. Unfortunately, Plex is going to fall down against Yon while pushing into the mid inhibitor turret, but unfortunate that the fight around the mid-tier 1 was honestly the swing for Ocean, because from that point onwards, they got the Baron, and they're already looking to close it out while still having the Baron buff hyper.
Yes, they are. They're pushing down onto the Nexus towers, but at the same time, they don't quite have enough quite yet. There are almost no time left on those death timers. Plux, Gibble, and APA are about to come back up, but the Nexus towers have fallen. This is the last chance for Mountain to really save it. They've got to win this fight if they want to survive in this game. That is going to be 1 kill already over to the side of Ocean. That's going to be 2 kills. Make it 3 and make it the game in favor of Team Ocean.
You know, Hyper, that game, if we were just take a look at the first half of that game, the first 20 minutes of that game, it was a close one. It was 8-8, and they were going back and forth. Gibble, of course, had the advantage in the one-on-one, but it all just started going downhill after the fight around the mid lane, where they got 4 kills right then and there. They also got they got the vision on the top side quadrant and got a pick off Zaun, and that snowballed right into the Baron, and honestly just into the game. That was honestly a really quick way of Ocean just ending the game the moment they got the advantage.
Yeah, they knew that there wasn't much that the side of Mountain could do against the Baron Nashor buff on the minions, because it does give them the extra magic resist. And when your 2 most wave cleary people are the Lilia and the Orianna, both of which do magic damage, you're not clearing Baron waves effectively. And as a result, they're just easily able to push in with neither of those champions able to do anything. Then they get those 2 kills on the bottom side. They're just like, okay, if I want to teleport down here into death like dominoes, we'll just take the game.
Yeah, that was a bold call, I gotta admit, for Mount. You know, I respect that a lot, and thinking that they were able to win that 2-on-2. But I mean, in that state of the game, you know, Yunbi had the Triforce, had the Muramana, and also had the Phantom Dancer already built up in his kit. And at that point, you're critting for a lot, and you're also critting magic damage. Like, you know, critical physical damage is one thing. Critical magic damage is something entirely different, and it's specifically unique to Corki. And Rodov doing a good job holding his own. And that's where, you know, the one-on-one that I talked about between the Camille and the Jax becomes like a fighting game. It's all about that mix-up with the counter-strike. You know, you can use a hook shot to go the distance when the stun comes through and then jump back onto the Jax. The second option is using that Hextech Ultimatum right before Gibble were to activate that counter-strike. And, you know, that's where the 50-50 comes in. Are you going to be activating the counter-strike a little bit earlier on so you get that stun? Or am I going to read you and use a Hextech Ultimatum? And you saw what happened on that bottom side. Rodom, he got the better end of it.
He absolutely did. And as a result, Ocean were able to take game 1. We're going to go into game 2 in just a minute. But before that, we're going to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away, as we will be right back with day 3, series 1 of Scouting Grounds, Mountain versus Ocean game 2. We'll see you then.